So in the last video in this series, what's on my back, what's in my pack, I'm going to talk about all the things I haven't talked about yet, which are my extra clothing bag, my first aid kit, what I wear when I leave on my body, and my poles and what I carry in and on my poles. So that's my extra clothing bag, not a lot. It's my first aid bag, not a lot. But you don't need a lot. You know, again, everybody's got their own fear factors and, you know, what they should carry, what they shouldn't carry. The first aid, I don't want to do open heart surgery out there, but, you know, basic things like foot care, you know. I carry some hot spot covering cloth. I don't know if I've ever used this stuff, but I've always carried it. I usually don't get blisters, and it's preventative maintenance. You know, if you do things right and have the right footwear, foot covering, you're usually not going to have hot spots. But if you do, then you need some moleskin. This little Swiss Army knife, you know, it's got scissors, it's got a toothpick, it's got blades and files, but what I use it mostly for is clipping my nails. Again, foot care. It's got a little nail clipper on there. I think that's really why I bought this and actually carry it for the nail clippers. And not just, you know, first aid for my body, but for my gear. So I've got tenacious tape, gear aid tape, just to repair things. Usually my air mattress, which is usually hard to repair in the field anyway, because it's usually a pinhole or a little piece of cactus that punctured it, and you can't find it anyway until you get to a motel room and put it in a bathtub and really look for it. Dental kit here. Most people probably don't carry that, but it weighs nothing. It's just a little compacting tool. So if you lost a filling or something, you could temporarily fill it yourself instead of having all the pain of trying to get to town and find a dentist. Again, I've never used it. It's just insurance, weighs nothing. You know, basic Band-Aids, carries different sizes. I get the kind that I usually work on wet surfaces. You know, these things will stick and stay on. Pepto-Bismol, this is probably what I use the most. If you ever get the bad belly, you take 4 or 5 of these chewables and problem solved. I use these probably more than anything. So if you're just starting on the trail, you're not, you know, used to trail food, sometimes you get the bad belly, but, you know, usually it's not from bad water or something, it's just something you ate. Maybe you went to town and pigged out and now you're paying for it, and these will help a lot. Toothpaste, toothbrush, carry a little floss stick. That's an important little item for me. I use that every day. Floss, you know, when I brush my teeth at night, but during the day, trying to get bacon jerky out of my teeth, this is the ticket. And quick and easy. I always carry those. Bag balm, it's good for cow udders, but you know, sometimes my feet on a long trail, they just get tougher than moccasin leather. Then they start cracking, and if you let that go, it can create problems. So this stuff softens them up. It's got some antibiotic stuff in it. But I do carry triple antibiotic, not a lot, don't use it much, but I carry a little bit, and if you get cut, you don't want to get infected or something, so just good to have something like that. Medicine, ibuprofen, I carry some of that, don't use it much again, but for any kind of inflammation problems, good to have. And some Excedrin, extra strength headache tabs. And that's about it. I used to carry Flagyl, which is what a doctor will give you if you get Giardia. And mine, I got rid of it. I think it had I don't know what the shelf life is on it, but I was carrying it for 20 years, so it probably doesn't work anymore. But I did take it to, and probably the most I use my first aid kit for are other people. So I met a girl that had really bad foot problems on the Pacific Crest Trail, and she had no first aid. She was carrying a ukulele, which is important, but she had no first aid. So I bandaged her foot up, used half my stuff to bandage her up, get her going again. And I one time was invited to Guatemala. So Guatemala wanted to attract birders. So Costa Rica probably, you know, the economy is boosted by $1 billion probably every year from birders going to Costa Rica. And Guatemala's got all the birds, but they kind of have a dark history, and so not many people go there birding. And they were trying to promote that, and they invited a bunch of writers, and I got invited down there. The military flew us around. We went to Tikal. We went to a lot of cool places, but you shouldn't drink the water. And one kind of famous person that was in the group drank the water by accident, I think. You know, there was bottled water on the tables when we were eating, and just glasses of water. And I always drank the bottled water, but he must have gotten into some bad water, and he got the bad belly real bad, maybe Giardia, I don't know. Anyway, I took my backpack down there with all my gear, and so I had my first aid, and I had Flagyl. So I went down and offered it to him, but he didn't know me from Adam, so he wasn't going to take it. And I said, how about Imodium AD? You know, that's pretty generic. You want that? No, it wouldn't take anything from me. Okay. So I went back to my room, and the Guatemalans came and got me and said they had to take this guy to town in the middle of the night to find a doctor, and would I go with them? And I said, sure. So we go down to this little burg, and we go into this little facility, and I'm sitting there. They take him in the back, and pretty soon the doctor comes out, this gal, middle of the night, and I said, where are you going? She said, well, he's dehydrated. I need to see if I can find some electrolytes. I said, I've got Gatorade, will that work? Oh yeah, she took that right back in. He took it from her. So then she comes out again, and where are you going? She says, well, I'm gonna see if I can find a pharmacy that's open and find some Flagyl. I said, here, I've got Flagyl right here. Gave it to her. She took it, he took it from her. I just had to be Dr. Dicky Bird, I guess, and he would have taken it from me. But anyway, the next day we took him home, and he was out of it for a day, but then he kind of got back to normal. So if it was Giardia, I doubt it, but maybe the Flagyl helped him. But again, most of the time I'm loaning this stuff out to ultralight packers that don't carry much first aid. And then extra clothing. Again, not much. Actually, the first item in my extra clothing bag is my blow-up pillow. It just seems like a good place to keep it. It always goes into my tent every night, and this is where I keep my pillow. This is a great little item. So first aid, yeah, it's first aid because you get a good night's sleep with this thing. I've tried sleeping on my clothes. I've tried sleeping on a plaidie with air in it. I've tried all the tricks over the years, but nothing beats these blow-up pillows. And for the weight, I'll always carry one. I put this down on my mattress, my Thermarest, and then I pull my one of my puffies over the top of this pillow, which pads the pillow too, and it's just a great night's sleep. Greatest thing since sliced bread. Ballet warm-up pants. In case I have ballet lessons on the trail, I have these, but actually they're as cheap as an $80 pair of pants that does is pretty much the same thing. You buy these on Amazon for 20 bucks, and that's what ballet dancers use for warm-ups. And they're like a wind pant. I wear them to bed. I've really never wore them as a layer, but I could. They would break some wind, they would hold some heat, but I've never been so cold that I really had to deploy that for that reason. And the same thing with a top, just kind of a wind top. And I use both of these in town mostly, either sleeping in them in my tent or in town doing laundry. When I want to wash everything else, I can wear these. The only thing I would look for in a top like this that this doesn't have, it's got a small pocket. I don't even know why they put it in there. It's so small I can hardly get my money and my ID into it, but I would want a bigger pocket in it because usually if I'm doing laundry, I'm walking someplace and I want someplace to carry something. I got no pockets in either of those things that are worth a darn. Baklava down hoodie. I bought this just kind of for insurance, but I found out that I use it all the time. I sleep in a lot of different cold weather climes, and this thing is just part of my sleep system. So my sleeping bag has no hood on it, which makes it light. And this is the hood to my sleeping bag. On a cold night, I'll wear this, and you know, so my head turns independent of the bag. It's just a great little piece of gear. It's light, it's down, weighs nothing. Same thing with, you know, I've got old feet, just like my old hands. So a lot of times, even though I've got a warm bag, my feet are cold. I put these down booties on, man, I sleep, they're just like toasty warm. Not giving those up. Underwear, everybody's got to have extra underwear. Unless you're an ultralighter, then maybe you don't. Extra socks, down tough socks. Now these, as far as socks, you know, they're nice and cushy, good for walking in. But when I do the Florida Trail, I might carry a pair of liner socks because of so much sand and water. Your socks get so compacted with material, it's hard. You know, these darn tubs, when I get to a room, you know, get a hotel room or something, I soak them in the tub for hours and squeeze them out, and dirt will come out of those things forever, you know. So I do that for a few hours before I take them down and put them in a washing machine, and I'm not sure you still get in all of it out. And so it's hard on your feet, where as a liner sock being much thinner, you can wash them out so much easier. But you really probably don't want to be pavement pounding in them because there's not much cushion in them. And you know, I just use this Dyneema bag for I don't know what I bought that this came with, but use that for my clothing bag, and then I've got one again for my food bag. And you know, it keeps things kind of dry, but still it's not bulletproof, so I put it in a compactor bag if I get into really wet, rainy conditions. I don't want moisture coming into my pack, getting into these clothes, because these are my backup. Poles. One thing you might have noticed I hadn't talked about on my pack was a dig tool or a trawl for cat holes. Well, I keep it right here on my pole, and it's easy to get to, nice place to carry it. I've shown this in other videos before where I carry extra stakes for my tent in these poles, and I'm always losing stakes, it seems like, so that's a good place to carry them. I carry one in each pole. And then as far as clothing that I wear when I start out, just a light brimmed hat. You know, if I have my umbrella on, I don't need a hat. That's the nice thing about having the umbrella. You don't have to wear a hat, and your head gets a lot more air to it. But I like a buff, love to wear a buff, but I need to keep that sun out of my old eyes, and I need a bill, so I wear that most of the time. I have a lot of hoods, sun hoodies. This is what I wear 90% of the time, the sun hoodie, and you know, it'll keep a lot of the sun off my face, but it still won't keep the sun out of my eyes. So I want a bill to keep that sun at bay. And the only thing I would change with this sun hoodie, I love this thing. It's good when it's cold, it's good when it's hot. I've hiked in the desert when it's 80 in this thing, and I'm not uncomfortable. It's got long sleeves, protects my arms. You know, I don't wear shorts, I don't wear short sleeves. I'm trying to keep the sun off my old body, so I have long sleeves, long pants. But I would like better pockets in this thing. It has pocket, but I'd like a zipped kangaroo pocket in a hoodie, and I don't see anybody making that yet. I haven't found one anyway. And then just, you know, I just buy these cargo pants on eBay, cheapest thing I can find, because I go through them a lot. Usually wear out the cuffs, just you know, doing 20+ mile days, wears them out pretty quick. And that's it. And if you have questions, please comment. You know, when I go over this stuff, I go over it pretty quick. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to backpack, but you know, there are lots of different ways to do things, lots of methods, lots of different gear. I'm not trying to tell you that the way I do it is the way you should do it. I'm just trying to give you some ideas to think about when you're buying gear, thinking about gear. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. That's probably the most enjoyable part of putting out these videos, is hearing from you. So anyway, keep smiling. So this video link will take you to a playlist of all the other videos I've done on all these separate pieces of gear we've talked about in the last 3 or 4 videos here. So if you have any questions on certain pieces that you want more information, because I went through it pretty quick, you'll find it there. If you can't find the answers, write it in a comment and I'll get back with you.